Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Curtis, and today I'm going to review episode 1 of She the People, which stars Terry Vaughn, Jay Nova, Jo Marie Payton, and Diane Brooks. The episode begins with Antoinette talking about her political journey on the Channel 8 News. She tells us that she once ran for city council but is now running for lieutenant governor so that she can do the right thing by those who live in her community, opposed to focusing on people who live outside of her community, like the current governor. It is at this point that the news anchor brings up some of the things that she has heard about Antoinette and her family, including the fact that her mom, Cleo, has been passing out campaign flyers at funerals. Antoinette, she tries to downplay it, and then she starts to talk about her mom and how strong and encouraging she is. The news anchor pretty much tries to bring her mom down a little bit and brings up the fact that, she lives on the south side of the city, which has a high crime rate. Antoinette, she does her best to try to basically say, every, city has its bad areas, but there are also good areas within those bad areas. And then we actually see a flashback clip of someone actually getting jacked in front of her mom. And her mom actually acting like she did not see anything, which is very common if you live in those type of areas. The news anchor then brings up the fact that she is divorced, she's single, and she's the mother of 2 kids. This actually pisses her mom off, and her mom actually storms off. After the interview, Antoinette, her assistant Shamika, Shamika's boyfriend Basil, and her mom Cleo meet in the back area of the news station to discuss the interview. Cleo is upset and asks Antoinette why didn't she put her hands on the news lady. Shamika has to step in and remind her that she's running for lieutenant governor. That wouldn't be a good look. But she also mentioned that she believes that it would have went a little bit differently if they were on the south side. Antoinette, she's not amused by that. Antoinette then looks over at her mom and notices that something appears to be off. She asks her if she has been smoking weed. Her mom actually corrects her and tells her that she's been chewing weed opposed to smoking weed. Cleo then tries to redirect the conversation and tells her that she is getting ready to go out to get some more votes for her and she wants her to come with her. Antoinette says that she's not really interested in going to any funerals, and where her mom says she's not going to any funerals, she's actually going to a strip club to try to get more votes. Shamika steps in again and says she doesn't think that's a good look for someone running for lieutenant governor to be seen at a strip club. Her mom ends up leaving, and then Basil offers to give them a ride. Both of them are a little hesitant because Basil, he's not really the best driver, but they say, you know what, it's okay, we need to get there, so they end up going to her house. Antoinette and Shamika, they end up going to Antoinette's house, in which we see a man is standing in the living room, and it turns out that it's actually Antoinette's child's father, Cyrus. He's there to pick up the kids. It's at this point that Shamika reveals that Cyrus actually cheated on Antoinette back in the day, and it becomes quite apparent that, Shamika, she doesn't play about Antoinette, and she's very overprotective. Cyrus then asks Antoinette if she remembers a person named Shiloh Ross, because Shiloh may be able to assist her in the campaign. Both Antoinette and Shanika, they basically shut it down and they say there really isn't any point because the election is that night, so there really isn't much that, he could do. And then, Cyrus ends up giving Antoinette the card with Shiloh's number on it, just in case, she ever needs it. And then after that, Antoinette, she ends up calling the kids down. Her son Titus comes down first, and he asks his mom if he can go to the headquarters with her since, tonight is the election night, and he wants to be there for her. She says, unfortunately, now, you have to go with your father. And then her daughter Lola comes downstairs, and she has an attitude. And the reason why she has an attitude is because she feels like her mom has been talking bad about her and making her seem, I guess, not in the best light. And she actually ends up going off on her. And her mom looks, she's disappointed, she's upset, she's confused, she doesn't know what's going on. It does de-escalate fairly quickly. And Lola, she ends up going with their brother and father. And Antoinette and Shamika, they actually end up sitting down having a conversation. And with Shamika, she is confused because she's like, why would you let the little girl talk to you like that? And she was basically saying, you know what, I really do not have time. I have so much going on. I can't focus on her having an attitude because even once this attitude is over, she's probably going to have another attitude tomorrow. She may have another one within an hour. You know how these teenagers are. And then Shamika actually jokes and she says, you know what you need to do is you need to take her out of private schools and enroll her in public schools so that way she can get bullied and she can get beat up. And I'll be honest with you, I actually agree. She needs the life lesson. Antoinette and Shamika, they end up going outside and they notice that Basil is not there. Shamika calls Basil and tells him that Antoinette is upset that he's not there. They have a little inside joke about Antoinette, but eventually, she hangs up and she says that he went to the store, but he'll be back soon. After this, we see Cyrus, Titus, and Lola in the car. Lola asks Cyrus to stop her in front of her house. She tells him that she's going to hang out with her friend Vicky and that she can actually call her mom to confirm it if he doesn't believe her. He tells her that he does believe her. She gets out of the car. She walks up to the house. But once she sees that the car is no longer in sight, she actually walks back towards the street. And someone pulls up. I'm going to assume it's her boyfriend. She gets inside the car and we find out that she has fake IDs and that they are actually on their way to a party. Basil ends up coming back and he actually drives Antoinette and Shamika to a church where Antoinette is trying to get a couple of last minute votes from the churchgoers, but unfortunately they are not here for it. She tries to bring up her mom, but they are not really here for it because they know her mom and they say that she's never at the church. In fact, she used to just drive past the church to give everybody the finger. She then brings up her daughter and then next thing you know, everyone's phone goes off. And she's trying to figure out, what's going on, what's everybody looking at. And when she actually looks at the phone, she can see that her daughter is at a party. It looks like there are adults there, people drinking or smoking, and she's dancing. And so now she's upset, she's disappointed, she's pissed, and now she's making it her mission to get to this house to get her daughter from that party. Antoinette and Shamika, they go outside and they tell Basil to get out the car so they can drive to the house where the party is. She ends up calling Cyrus to see, if he's, know what's going on. He's completely oblivious. He's no help. He has no idea. And so they actually get to the house and Shamika actually offers to go inside to try to get her daughter. Antoinette says, no, I'm going to go and get her. And Shamika's like, I'm not really sure if that's, a good idea because I don't want you to cause a scene or if anything to happen on the day of your election. But she doesn't really care at this point because when it comes to the election of her daughter, she's going to choose her daughter, right? And so she ends up going into the house. She makes it to the back and she grabs the microphone and she basically lets everybody know that she's looking for her daughter. Her daughter boyfriend ends up popping up, and then next thing you know, we actually see Lola. She tries to have a conversation with her and tries to convince her to leave, and her daughter actually says, I'm not going anywhere with you, right? And so at this point, because she's trying to show off pretty much, right? And so after that, she says, if you live under my house, you have to follow my rules. And then next thing you know, the guy that she went there with actually steps up to her as if she is a man and tells her that she would no longer live under your roof. She's going to live with me. And Antoinette, she actually looks around. She's like, I know this man did not just step up to me. And she actually punches him in the face, breaks his nose, make him bleed and everything like that. She tells Lola to get in the car. She actually listens to her this time. It's at this point that we realize that someone actually recorded the entire thing. They get in the car and Lola and her mom, they have a little back and forth in which, Lola, she's informed that she is grounded. And then at this point, Lola and her grandmother Cleo, they kind of start going back and forth. And Lola, she actually slips up and says something slick. Antoinette, she ends up slamming on the brakes because she's having flashbacks to when she was younger and when she got smart with her mom. And then she quickly says, you know what, Shamika, Lola, switch seats to avoid any type of confrontation. And so they do. And then Shamika lets her know that someone recorded her punching the guy in the face and that it's gone viral. But at this point, Antoinette, she doesn't care. She's trying to reach her daughter. She's trying to understand where she's coming from. She lets her know that, she loves her more than anything. And that, she's just as eager as her to try to, become an adult because she wants her to experience adulthood, but also she wants her to understand how hard and how difficult it is to be an adult. So she's looking forward to her turning 18 just as much as Lola is. After that conversation, they go to the headquarters and we actually see Cyrus and we actually see her son. Cyrus ends up apologizing to her for everything that happened. And then eventually Lola actually apologizes as well. So I was like, okay, we're going in the right path, right? So then someone tells Antoinette to look at the TV. And when they look at the TV, they see that people are actually in agreement with her punching the kid in the face because, they know that kids are bad. And also, they know that they want to do it, but they know that they will never actually do it. So the fact that she did it, it's almost like she is their hero. And so people are coming out in record numbers. And before you know it, we find out that she won the election. Even though the person who was standing in line pretty much said that she was waiting to vote. And they made it appear as if, there was still a lot of time left before they would announce the election. It was announced, of course, that she won. And then she gives up and she gives an acceptance speech. And that is where the show ended. And to be honest, I wasn't really impressed with the episode. If I can give it a rating out of 10, I would give it a 2 out of 10. And the reason why I give it a 2 out of 10 is one, I'll give it for Terry Vaughn because she's one of my favorite actresses. And then also, of course, for Jo Marie Payton because she is a legend. But outside of that, I really can't see that much promise. As far as the daughter, of course, she's a typical teenager. She's going to speak out of term and she's going to act out. We've seen that done so many times. So, I mean, it definitely gets a person's blood boiling, but it's nothing that I'm like, ooh, I can't wait to see that. As far as the son, he appears to be quiet. He appears to be, I guess you could say, kind of nerdy. And so it doesn't appear like it's going to be much from him. As far as, Cyrus, the child's father, he doesn't seem to be too bright. It doesn't appear like he's really going to speak up and do much. He's just pretty much, I guess you would consider it the cool dad. And as far as, Shamika, I like Shamika's character, but at the same time, it is kind of giving like the typical, type of character. So hopefully it's not too much as we go along. But, even though I gave it a poor rating, I'm still going to continue watching the show. I'm still going to continue reviewing the show. So luckily, Netflix actually released the first set of episodes. So I am going to watch all of the episodes and I will review all of the episodes and I'll get them up as quickly as I can. And that's actually everything I have for you guys. So if you could, please like the video, subscribe to the page, and leave a comment.